Today's session is an introduction webinar to online teaching. We will discuss some basics of teaching online, and also we'll take a look some online course examples. I have been teaching online for over 2 years, and I would like to share with you some of the important teaching practices I have learned during my online teaching. Online courses we are talking about 100% online courses here. Online courses are conducted on the internet, usually delivered via a learning management system, which is such as Blackboard, which is a system we're currently using. So the difference between face-to-face and online teaching lies in the fact that instructions for teaching online takes place in a separate and different environment. This unique characteristics of this online environment and with its own uniqueness and constraints provide both challenges and benefits, and also leads to some different teaching practices from classroom teaching. So to get started, let's first get some idea of what makes online teaching unique. I'd like to draw your attention first to this big circle standing for 24 environment. And this in this environment, the students are physically separated from their instructor and from their from other students, from their peers. So this 24/7 learning environment is learners' only connection to instructor, to course content, and to their peers. Some people say that online learners are invisible learners. Online professors, they are invisible instructors, which is quite true. So this kind of distance barriers creates lots of stress, already create a lot of stress and uneasiness for both students and instructor. So the question here is that how can we teach without this face-to-face interaction when there's no social cues or no instant feedback that we so much take for granted in the face-to-face teaching environment. And during my based on my experience, there are two things I have learned as an online instructor I think are most important. First, maybe you don't think this is a big issue, but when you teach online, first I think clarity is a key. So as an online instructor, all the online content and all the online instructions needs to be written in a highly clear and detailed way and presented in an easy to read and logical format. You also need to provide clear instructions in face-to-face classroom, but this kind of clarity, the need for clarity in online course carries much more weight if all your instruction will be 100% online. I often found myself as an online instructor spend so much more time in supporting learners and a much greater degree on telling them what you need to do next, what you should get, where you should get started, when you need to submit your assignment, and how it is expected to be done. So I spend much more time providing learners with all those clear instructions, support learners' needs in a much greater degree than what I do in face-to-face teaching. The second thing I have learned is that as an online instructor, I need to plan and facilitate constant, frequent communication with my online learners. I found myself spending lots of time just to make students to feel my ongoing online presence. So even though you don't see me, but you need to know that I'm always there. I'm constantly monitoring your progress in this virtual environment. I think this is one of the most important thing an online instructor can do to engage learners, to make sure the learners stay on task, is not getting lost. I do this by sending out frequent announcements such as reminders, overviews, just sometimes just a simple note of encouragement, comments, providing students with timely feedback. Not only sometimes I found I need to answer their emails answer their email quickly, responding to students quickly, responding quickly to their discussion posts. Sometimes just a simple thing, just something like chatting their progress with a simple email to an individual student, such as something like, "Hi, David, how are you doing with this module? Hey, Mary, anything you still feel fuzzy about?" Something like this to make students feel that their instructor is out there checking their progress, is responding to them. Also, designing some activities for students to communicate frequently with their peers and frequent self-assessment, something students need to do to engage themselves with other students. So make sure students stay on task, make sure students stay connected with you and with their peers. So because of this distance barrier, this is very important, something I learned which really important. Another uniqueness of online teaching is that online teaching environment is technology-supported teaching and learning environment. The impact of technology on both learning process and the instruction process, I think, is one of the most important features of an online course that online instructor needs to be aware of before getting involved in online teaching. So you may want to ask yourself before you get started in online teaching is that, do I feel comfortable with using internet, with using instructional technology to deliver instruction online? What is your comfort level of supporting students' technical needs? What kind of training and support do you need? And what kind of training and support is available for you on campus? And also make sure you attend all available trainings to obtain some basic essential skills needed for online teaching. And another feature is that online teaching environment is ongoing and self-paced. And this kind of asynchronous mode offers lots of flexibility and convenience to students. And students spend most of their time in the course side, engaging mostly in an asynchronous learning mode, which students can do it at their own time, place, and pace. This kind of asynchronous nature puts full learning responsibility to students. So students are there on their own, learning on their own. But that does not mean that online instructors just upload their course content there, then online teaching is done. No, online instructor needs to set the pace, set the course schedule, and set a course framework, a clear logical course framework to guide students to complete the course requirements throughout the whole course. And the most teaching tasks an instructor undertakes after a course starts is just by being there, moderating, facilitating the learning, and facilitating the students' participation. So in this sense, online instructor needs to get most of the course development, course content done before an online course starts, so that much of the time and efforts can be devoted, can be used in facilitating students' participation, providing timely feedback, motivating students, encouraging, acknowledging, reinforcing, besides grading their assignments. So most of the teaching task after course starts is moderation, facilitating, all those kind of things. Not really in the traditional sense. You are standing there giving lectures, not in the online course. In that sense, online course is instructor facilitated but student centered. And also some online instructor also add some synchronous components, such as using Wimba Classroom to hold online office hours. And also some instructors use Wimba to have live session for the first week. And some instructors invite guest speakers in the Wimba session to enable that real-time interaction to foster a sense of online community. The last thing is different ways to deliver content and engage learners. Well, much content from a traditional version of course can be adapted to an online version. Instructor needs to evaluate how those content can be delivered and presented to students via distance. I'm about to push out a video for you. After you're done with watching this video, I want you to put your comments in the polling question text box. So let's have a discussion based on the video here. So give me 1 second. If you are not able to watch the video, let us know. Hi, Elizabeth. You are not able to watch this video? Are you still there, Elizabeth? Okay. Okay. Let's move on. So, any comments there? I have a question for you to discuss. Do you think using 15 minutes Panopto classroom video lecture in a 100% online course is a good online teaching practice? Anybody wants to share your comments? Oh, you can type the comments there and then click submit to submit your answer. I know lots of professors are using Panopto to record their face-to-face classroom lecture. Eric, do you have any feedback? Laura, Mary, anybody? I'm sorry, you just need to stop the video. Okay, the comments are displayed here. Yes, 15 minutes video lecture is too long for online delivery. We're talking about 100% online course here. Yes, smaller bits. Yeah, we need to chunk the content. No bad idea, too long. Yeah, breaking into chunks. Yes. Sometimes maybe, but certainly not always. Okay. Mary, are you able to talk here? Just hold the talk button. Do you like to elaborate on your points? Oh, Eric, anybody wants to have audio talking here? Just hold on the talk button, and then you can start talking. No? Okay. One thing I want to draw attention is there. Think about what you do in face-to-face environment. When you lecture there, you don't just lecture, right? If you put this 50 minutes lecture online, something is missing. What is missing there? This 50 minutes lecture, something is missing there if you use that as your instruction material for online students. Think about what you do in your face-to-face session. When you stand up there, you are lecturing. But you don't just lecturing. Yes, the engagement, the interaction is missing. The encouragement, yes, you are not just standing there lecturing, and students are not just sit there passively listening to your lecture. You ask questions. You let students discuss on topics. Sometimes you use clickers to make students focused on some important points. You use clickers to have classroom engagement. Students can discuss maybe in groups. So you are constantly there, stop from time to time to engage with your students, and also to make students engage with their peers in the traditional classroom. Now in the online, the same way, if you don't engage students and you just let students just read, just watch, your online course will quickly fall apart. This is my first time. When I first teach online courses, I didn't have very positive experience. This is what I experienced. So we need to design the engagement. So how do you design this kind of online engagement? For example, how can I transfer those 15 minutes lecture from classroom setting to my online setting? One strategy most of you has already mentioned is that chunking, right? You need to break up where students are looking. Yes, you need to break up the content into smaller chunks. In online, students has very short attention span because there's too much interruptions there. And also another way is that, so chunking is a way. Another way is that you need to set up some follow-up questions. So maybe during your lecture, embed some question to engage them with the lecture. Set up some follow-up discussion about the discussion topics for them to discuss with each other. And use self-assessment and have students write a learning blog. Have students discuss what they have watched in the video in the wiki. So all those things you can use. So as you can see here in online platform, we need to shift our traditional ways in delivering content and engage learners. We're going to talk detail in this engagement part later on. So those are all characteristics of online teaching environment. So physical separation and technology supported teaching environment, ongoing self-paced, different ways to engage learners to deliver content. Instructors should set up the structure and should facilitate the learning. And students will take full responsibility of the learning. So this is all the characteristic of online learning environment and teaching environment. Now let's take a look. What does a typical online course look like? Where there are different ways to conduct online courses. A typical online course is like this. The first week is usually a course orientation and getting to know each other week. In the first week, students need to know the course structure, course schedule, how to navigate the course site, technology needed on us, instructor expectations. So the online instructor usually create a README first, start here, getting started folder, including all startup information. And many online instructors have used the following strategies to orient to have student orientation, such as an audio or video, instructor's audio video welcome message to welcome students to the course, a video course tour, a discussion board where students can know each other and can know their instructor. You also put your online syllabus there, and some instructors have a syllabus quiz to make sure students read the syllabus. And other online instructors use a scavenger hunt assignment that asks students to explore the different areas of the course site. All those different techniques you can use. And this is my first module, my first week module. As you can see, I have an audio welcome message for my students. Everything my students need to know is included in this first module. Here's my audio. Okay, so here's you just heard my welcome audio message to students. Now, in our current Blackboard system, you can use Wimba voice audio authoring to create this kind of audio in a very easy way. And you just click record button, and once you are done, stop recording button. Now your audio is there. So it's very easy. Debmatic is teaching UTAB course for many years, and I think even though Deb's teaching mode is a blended mode, but I think Deb has done an excellent job in her orientation module all those. She has incorporated all kinds of interactive, getting started learning assignments, such as she has a video tour, and also she has a scavenger hunt assignments. With Deb's permission, let's watch Deb's course tour. Okay, I just want to show you a portion of her course tour, but you get the idea. So the initial module, Start Here module, is very important for students to get oriented in our course environment and all those expectations and how can students proceed to your online course. Okay, so after the initial orientation week, the real online teaching starts. Online instruction is conducted in a structured, scheduled time frame, with online instructors setting up a well-organized course site, providing clear logic and consistent course navigation and structure is particularly important to online learners. To me, I think getting lost in a course site is one of the main reasons for students' frustration. So that makes that online orientation really important. Now, the content is often organized in units or modules and also released on weekly or bi-weekly basis. Each unit or module follows the same and consistent structure. In the learning management system, you can easily create modules of content and also add links to different course tools such as discussion board, quiz. You can put everything in a central location. And many online instructors organize content in this way. Sometimes they organize content by sections, by modules, by units, by chapters. For example, in my online course here, you see from this, I have the Start Here module, and then Module 1. Module 1 is I include learning objectives, and I provide to-do checklist for students, lectures, assignments. And then the Module 2 follows exactly the same structure. So students have a clear idea what they should expect for each module. In our online course, instructors utilize different tools to present course content in smaller segments and also in multiple formats. Also creates opportunities for students to create their own content and share resources. Students also assess in multiple ways. And one unique assessment thing with online platform is that self-assessment with immediate feedback are frequent in an online course. In Blackboard, you can easily set up this self-assessment with immediate feedback with unlimited choice for students. And one big thing in online teaching is that many online instructors are began to utilizing the social learning and incorporate all those social learning and collaborative learning components into online course to make up that lacking of physical engagement in traditional classroom, to make up that piece, to create some kind of online community to engage learners with their peers. Now, after the course starts, instructors find themselves need to log into course site on daily basis, responding emails quickly, encouraging and facilitating students' participation, besides grading assignments and giving grades. So this, as I just mentioned, facilitating students' participation is one of teaching tasks online instructor will undertake mostly once online course starts. Let's take a look several examples here. Now, what I'm pushing out here is a Blackboard exemplary course program site. Let me put the URL into the chat window so you can bookmark this address. From this site, you will find rubric to develop online courses, and also you will find examples of exemplary courses selected by Blackboard reviewing team every year. Every year they have this reviewing this program running. Let's look at one course design example. So I'm going to push out another video here.
Marketing man.
Okay, as you can see that a different kinds of multiple ways to engage learners and to deliver content, and also student support, as Shane just mentioned in the video. Student support is a key element. Is a single thing. Is one of the single important thing online instructor can do to make sure students stay stay on the task. Okay, now I want to pause for several seconds. I want to get your feedback so far. What kind of comments do you have after watching other people's teaching practice after halfway through this webinar? Any comments you want to share with us? Mary, do you have any comments there? Okay, since you don't have any comments, we can move on. One thing I would like to say that all teaching practices apply to any teaching mode, regardless whether you teach online, face-to-face, or in a blended mode. In the face-to-face classroom, you also set up clear learning objectives. You design learning activities to engage learners. So in the online platform, you use all those good teaching practices, just in a different way. And this diagram illustrates some basic design considerations and components in an online course. As you can see here, all those design considerations apply to any teaching mode. All those basic design components. So the online course consists of two communication modes, synchronous and asynchronous modes, and students spend most of their time in an asynchronous mode. Instructional strategies have 6 major design components here you want to consider. And first is learning objectives. What do you want a student to accomplish? What kind of skills and competency you want students to be able to achieve at the end of your online course? And provide consistent and logic clear navigation. And based on your learning objectives, present course content in a logical chunks and in different format. And then your focus here is to help your learners learn in the virtual environment. How do you engage your virtual learners with the course content and with you and with their peers? And how do you assess that a learner achieves the learning objectives? How do you assess their learning? And then how do you support students' learning needs and their technical needs? All those components you need to consider in this when you teach online. Now, I'm going to push out a PDF handout, and this handout lists all the basic guidelines for those 6 components. So once you see a pop-up window, you can save this PDF, or you can open it to take a look. Yes, the role of instructor and also the role of learners all changed in the online platform. It's so different from traditional role instructor take, and students are no longer passive learners. They should take full responsibilities for their own learning. So the efforts to engage learners, I think, is a simple, important thing you can do as an online instructor. Without engagement, without frequent, timely feedback, an online course can quickly fall apart. Okay, so how can you get started? Before you get started with online teaching, I highly recommend you to attend some necessary training sessions offered here to gain the basic competency necessary for teaching online, and all those essential skills for online course to be successful. Deb is conducting online syllabus training workshop. We also have workshops on online teaching pedagogies. We also have workshops training on how to use a learning management system such as Blackboard, different tools. We also have workshop on social tools, Wikiblog, other instructional technology tools. Lauren is our Web 2.0 specialist, and she has been also conducting other workshops on different tools to create engaging content. This is one template table, some template I use to help myself stay on task. So I list the module 1, module 2, and just list different components I want to include in different modules here to help me develop my online course. And also, don't forget, we have support here. Also, we have 3 instructional designers in our team, and you're welcome to email us with instructional design consultation. So that concludes my today's session.